Yo, what's good, fam? Welcome to PNP. It's your boy Rashad, one half of PNP, and boy, it's been a long time since I've given y'all this view. My bad. I do better. Shout out to Grogu, man. What's good? All right, my ears be to the streets. My ears are to the streets. I know what's going on. I hear a lot of chatter about Scott Fitterer and how he takes a lot of the blame and how, he should be blamed for a lot of this mess that the Carolina Panthers are in right now. And while some of that is true, I got to give you all the context. But before we get into this, man, make sure that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, these comments. Let me know what's good. Trying to get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We got like a week, 2 weeks left. We probably not going to make it, but we tried. And that's all that counts. Hit the subscribe button for your boys. Let's get this algorithm all the way up for your boy, all right? Now let's get into this content, man. All right, so let's get into it. The responsibilities of the general manager versus the responsibilities of the head coach. Now, this is how it's supposed to work under normal circumstances, under a successful team, under successful leadership. This is how it's supposed to work. The general manager is supposed to answer directly to the owner. So any questions that the owner has, the general manager has the answer to those questions, and things work great. The general manager is also supposed to be responsible for hiring the head coach. Very, very, very important step. And you'll see where the Panthers took a big misstep, and that's why this is highlighted. The general manager is also responsible for building the personnel department. So the scouts, director of pro personnel, all that good stuff. The general manager is supposed to do that, okay? Compile the roster in accordance to the salary cap. That's something that the general manager is supposed to do. Obviously, in this circumstance, Scott Fitterer works with Samir Suleiman, and they kind of make sure that the cap is good to go. And then the final decision on personnel is supposed to come through the GM. That's what's supposed to happen under ideal and normal circumstances. On the other hand, under normal circumstances, the head coach is to identify the direction of the team, right? So this is where a coach is supposed to say, hey, this is my scheme, this is what I'm going to implement, and this is what I need to get it done. These are the type of players that I need to get this situation good so that we can win games. All right. So also that goes in the scheme, the formations, 3-4-4-3 defense, and then the delegation to the coordinators. The coordinators are the ones that are supposed to execute the game plans of the head coach. That is how it's supposed to work. Again, and I think Bill Parcells said this best. The GM is the guy who goes to the grocery store and gets the groceries while the head coach cooks the meal. I couldn't have said it better. Think about that for a second. The GM is the guy that goes out and does the grocery shopping while the head coach cooks the meal. So I need this, and this in order to make this meal great. In order for this Thanksgiving to be popping, I need a turkey. I need a 13 to 16 pound turkey. We're going to fry it. I need a peanut oil. GM, can you go get me this stuff? And the GM comes back with exactly what the head coach asked for. That is how it's supposed to work. And I'm going to tell you why and where we went wrong. Now, here we go. Here's the problem. So Marty Hurney, former GM of the Carolina Panthers, worked in conjunction with David Tepper to hire Matt Rule. They went out there, they hopped on a private jet, and they hired Matt Rule together in conjunction, right? So, like I said earlier, the GM is responsible for hiring the head coach. That is how it's supposed to work. David Tepper obviously had a lot to do with it. His hands are all in the basket when it comes to getting Matt Rule. He looks like me, smells like me, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff came from David Tepper and Marty Hurney. They collaborated in hiring Matt Rule. All right. What happened? Marty Hurney gets fired. And now you're looking at a situation where David Tepper is still around. Obviously, he's the owner. And Matt Rule are still around. They have a communication. They have a relationship. They know the goal, and they know what it's going to take to get to that goal together. Right. So now what do? They go out and then they find, and I don't know if Matt Rule had any impact or any on the decision. I don't know if he had any impact on it, but whatever the case is, the head coach and the owner are now on the same page, but then they hire an independent GM that has no clue what's going on. Scott Fitterer was put in a very bad situation. Again, you're talking about a lot of things are in place. You remember going back to the roles and responsibilities, the GM is supposed to help build the personnel department, right? There's already a salary cap guy in place. There's already all these things in place that Scott Fitterer has to conform to. He has to conform to what Matt Rule and what David Tepper want to see. So a lot of blame is being placed on Scott Fitterer when he's really just a dude that was just brought here on the backs of everything else that was already done. All right. So now you go back to the roles and responsibilities, and this is how it looks for the Carolina Panthers. Right now, the general manager is supposed to build, again, he's responsible for building personnel department, because I think he did have something to do with going out and get Dan Morgan. That's a positive. So he went out and got Dan Morgan, assistant GM, and he's compiling the roster in accordance to the salary cap. However, the head coach is identifying the direction of the team. But not only that, he's answering directly to the owner, because when there was no GM in place, what were they doing? Who was the owner going to? He's going to Matt Rule. Matt Rule, I'm sure, had something to do with the hiring of Scott Fitterer. All right. And he has heavy. I didn't want to say he had final. I was really close to putting final personnel decisions, but I don't know that. So I put heavy, extremely heavy input on personnel decisions. Right. It's supposed to be the general manager is supposed to have final say on personnel decisions. Right now, you can see it. Matt Rule has heavy input on personnel decisions. Going out and get all of his former Temple guys, all his former college guys. That is on Matt Rule, fam. That's on heavy emphasis on that. But at the end of the day, it's going to look like the general manager is the guy, because he's signing the checks, right? He's putting the contracts together. He's the one that's going to take the blame for a lot of stuff when it goes bad, and that's what's happening right now. All right. So let's roll with this. Now let's take a look at the bad, the ugly, and the good in that order. All right. So I went through all the transactions and I compiled the bad moves, the ugly moves, and the good moves for Scott Fitterer so far. Now the bad, he went out and signed Pat Elflein, and I put this as an ugly move because I really think it's not an ugly move if Pat Elflein was supposed to be the backup center. Obviously, he's played better at backup center than he has guard. So I'm not going to put that in the ugly category. I'm going to put it in the bad category. Trading away Denzel Perryman was a bad move as well. You got credit for signing him. And again, that's going to show up on the good, but then you traded him away. He comes out to be one of the better linebackers. And that is now one of the weaknesses on the roster is our linebackers. So, middle linebacker to be specific. So Denzel Perryman, traded him away, ends up being a bad move in not necessarily hindsight, but it just turns out to be a bad move. All right. The ugly. Now this is where things get to hit the fan, right? Going out, signing Cam Irving on day one of free agency. Not a good look. That's why Scott Fitterer has the black eyes right there. Not a good look. Trading for Sam Darnold. Terrible move, right? Terrible move. We all saw this coming. This was a bad move. But I go back to what the GM is supposed to do. The GM is responsible for going and getting the groceries for the head coach. The head coach on several occasions has said, I want veteran quarterback. I want a veteran quarterback. We need veteran quarterback here. You've seen they've gone out and they've gotten Teddy Bridgewater. They've gone out and they've got Sam Darnold. They've gone out and they've got Matt Barkley. They've gotten Cam Newton. They've got all these veteran quarterbacks. So it is clear and obvious that they don't want rookie quarterbacks. They want veteran quarterbacks. So what does the GM go out and do? He went out and got a veteran quarterback that was on a rookie deal. In hindsight, I mean, if you look at what he did, ideally, on paper, it looks good. You go out and get a quarterback on a rookie deal, but obviously we know Sam Darnold was damaged. It was a terrible move to go out and get Sam Darnold. We all saw this coming, so it goes on the ugly for Scott Fitterer. Okay, again, that coincides with trading away Teddy Bridgewater. The plan should have been, and again, Scott Fitterer ain't got nothing to do with that. Scott Fitterer came in after the Teddy Bridgewater debacle was a wrap. Matt Rule was the one that threw Teddy Bridgewater under the bus. All right. He had no choice but to get rid of him. So trading away Teddy Bridgewater doesn't go on Scott Fitterer. That goes on Matt Rule and the previous regime. They had to get that right. They were responsible for that situation going south, not Scott Fitterer. Okay. And then obviously Scott Fitterer doubled down on the terrible move, trading away Teddy Bridgewater, signing and trading for Sam Darnold, and doubled down by taking the fifth-year option on Sam Darnold. That's a terrible move, and now we're stuck with Sam Darnold through next year, $18 million in the dirt. He's going to be around no matter what. And then you go to the draft, right? The draft misses. He missed out. He did take the long snapper. He traded away some guys and overlooked some of the offensive linemen. But again, I'm going to go back to what the GM is supposed to do. Go and get me guys. The guys that I want, you go get them. Go get the groceries. I'll cook the meal. Matt Rule is saying this is the recipe I'm working with. I need veteran guys, veteran offensive lineman, veteran quarterback. That's why they went out and got a Cam Irvin, a Pat Eflin. And they're not playing. They tried their best not to play a Brady Christensen. They're trying their best not to play a Deontay Brown. Because had you played those two guys and you put them where they need to play, then I think this draft class will look a lot better. And I think a lot of people will be pumping the brakes on some of the offensive line issues that we're having if you're putting Brady Christensen at the right place and you're playing Deontay Brown. I think some of that stuff will be overlooked. I think some of those tradeaways with Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, some of that stuff would have been overlooked had the guys that we drafted been put in the right position to succeed. That's my opinion. Now, some of the good stuff, then I think it's a nice little list of good things that some people may not want to give them credit for, or they're overlooking, or they may have forgot it happened. But franchise tagging, extending Taylor Moton was a good idea. I know Taylor Moton is not having his best season. He's very inconsistent at times. Can he play better? Yes. But we needed some sort of consistency on our offensive line. And I think franchise tagging and then extending Taylor Moton was a good move. Going out and getting Hassan Reddick, good move. And again, I said it earlier, that's a former Temple Owl. Okay, so Matt Rule has to get credit for that too. Go out and get the guys I need. So Matt Rule and Scott Fitterer share credit for that. And again, not only that, the credit that Scott Fitterer gives for that deal is the structure, right? Putting on those voided years. Something we haven't seen a GM do around here ever. Marty Hurney was the worst contract structurer ever. Okay, he was terrible at it. So between him, Samir Suleiman, they were able to structure a contract that worked great. And I like what they did with Hassan Reddick. Morgan Fox was a good signing. Denzel Perryman at the time was a good signing. Frankie Louvu is balling. Greg Little, trading away Greg Little was a good deal. Signing AJ Bouye, that was a great deal. On a 2-year deal, by the way. Zane Gonzalez, great deal. He's playing great. We haven't had a kicker like him in a long time, making all his kicks, looking good. I have no problem with Zane Gonzalez. Traded for CJ Henderson. A lot of people don't like this. A lot of people have a nearsighted thought process when it comes to CJ Henderson. Yes, CJ Henderson is struggling right now. Yes, he is. But he is on the second year of his rookie deal. He is still on a rookie contract. We're treating CJ Henderson as if he is a full-time veteran. That's not the case. Give CJ Henderson the same energy you would give a Derrick Brown. I told y'all to pump the brakes on Derrick Brown. You have to wait until year 3 before you really give a boom or bust on a guy, and CJ Henderson has not in that zone yet. If this guy turns out to be great, everybody's gonna look at that 3rd round pick that we traded away like, man, that was awesome. If it doesn't work out, I think it was a risk worth taking in this particular instance with CJ Henderson. I saw his college tape. He's a very good defender and has it in him. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, Matt Rule is in the kitchen. Go get me the groceries. Scott Fitterer said this is the type of guy you need. I'm gonna go get him. Got a CJ Henderson. Now what's the coaching have to do? The coaching staff have to do? They have to coach him up. They have to coach CJ Henderson up. It is now their responsibility to make sure that CJ Henderson is a good player. That's not on the GM. That is on the coaches. Put the blame where it needs to go. You've seen CJ Henderson. All right, you see CJ Henderson play, and this is different. I know some people say, "Oh well, Sam Darnold." No, Sam Darnold has not been good ever. CJ Henderson is a good player at the end of the day, and I think it's the responsibility of the head coaches and the defensive coaching staff to get this dude coached up. I think he's a good player, and I think he has a lot of potential. I think that Panther Nation really needs to pump their brakes on the CJ Henderson stuff. Give it time. I think he's going to be better. Traded for Stephon Gilmore. Okay, Stephon Gilmore, great for a 6th round pick. Give me that all day, every day. That's a great move. And then he signed Cam Newton. Also a great move. Again, I just think the coaching needs to get better. Again, I say it one more time. I get the groceries. Okay, you got to make the meal. Right now, it's smoke in the kitchen. Matt Rule is burning up every damn thing in the kitchen right now. That's on Matt Rule, not Scott Fitterer. So I say all that to say this. I feel like Scott Fitterer deserves the opportunity to go out there and get a head coach that he handpicked and tie his name to. Right now, his name is tied to a guy that he did not choose. He was forced to work with Matt Rule Tepper handpicked with Tepper and Hurney picked up Matt Rule, and then Scott Fitterer is now forced to work with the guy he did not choose. He is doing the bidding of a guy that he has no relationship with, that he has no idea around his philosophy. He has to hit the ground running to go out and choose guys that he wants to execute his system. So what does Scott Fitterer look like challenging a head coach that the owner picked? I'll wait. What does Scott Fitterer look like challenging a head coach that the owner picked? It doesn't make sense, right? So Scott Fitterer is handicapped. He's working with one arm tied behind his back. I think Scott Fitterer at least deserves the opportunity to go out there and get his head coach so that, hey, we can at least know that this guy picked the head coach and they both are trash. Then they both can go. They both can go. But right now, y'all are asking for, I see a lot of people asking for Scott Fitterer to be gone, and like he's just doing the bidding of what the head coach is deriving. The head coach is the one that is saying, hey, I need these guys. The analytics say short arms don't work, so go out there and get me a long arm tackle. Not in the draft, because I need veterans. That's what Scott Fitterer did. Now it looks like Scott Fitterer deserved the blame, but he's just doing what the head coach told him to do. Head coach to cook. Scott Fitterer is getting the groceries. The cook right now is burning the shit down. There's smoke in the kitchen. And it goes on Matt Rule, not Scott Fitterer. The groceries are fine. The talent is not the issue in all cases, right? The offensive line sucks. Talent is not the issue in every case. We got a talented defense. Why is it starting to squander? Coaching, the kitchen. All right. So that being said, man, that's all I got. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, get these comments. Let me know what's good. I want to know y'all thoughts. Who are y'all to blame? Who are y'all blaming right now? That being said, like, subscribe. I'm out.